Trigger warning, pedophilia, sexual exploitation. One time in 7th grade my friend, let's call her Susan, invited me and some other friends over to her house for a sleepover. I always got a weird vibe from her dad but I just ignored it. When we got there her dad said that at night he would take all of our phones. I thought this was weird and he said it was because he didn't want us up all night on our phones. Now, me and Susan look kinda similar, so her dad said he had to get a picture of us together. I stood next to Susan ready for the picture but he said no, let's take the picture upstairs. I went with Susan and her dad upstairs and he took me into his room and asked us to sit at the foot of his bed, our backs to him. I thought this was really creepy, but I didn't want to say anything. Then her dad said to me, no, sit like Susan. I looked over at Susan, and she was sitting there with her butt at the air on her knees. I did it, but the fact that Susan's dad has a picture of me sitting on my knees with my butt in the air haunts me. Oh yeah, and Susan bullied me for like, all of 7th grade from Anonymous. I had a boyfriend back in junior year but I was close with his friends before I dated him. When we were dating I had his friend in one of my classes and he was so sweet and funny but never went further because he respected our relationship. Then my boyfriend and I broke up and I was so upset. I told him about it and he said he was here for me. Over the past few months the more I talked with him the more I realized I liked him but I wasn't sure if he would like me back. One day I opened up to him about my depression and anxiety and he was so kind and understanding about it unlike how my ex was. He works at a boba shop and he asked if I wanted boba. I said yes jokingly but surprisingly he asks for my address and shows up around 11:30 at night since he closes. I had to sneak out to the front but it was worth it. The moment I saw him with my boba and when he said I'm always here for you and you can talk to me about anything I knew I made the wrong choice in dating my ex when he was there all along. I am still currently falling for him and he doesn't know how I feel but I know for a fact I don't want to lose him. So when my sister was 9 she got her first period. I was only 7 and it was only my brothers and my dad at home. So me being the only other girl she called me in the bathroom when it happened and showed me this huge fucking blood clot that fell on the floor. We didn't know what it was and thought she had a baby at home. We named it Chase. So we picked it up and showed it to our brothers saying it was a child that was going to grow up. So when it was dinner all of us set a place for it at the dinner table and when my mom got home she saw it on the table and panicked, yelling what TF was on the table and who put it there. My sister stood up proud as shit saying it was her child since it came out her cat face. She got put in her room for the whole week and my mom bleached the table. I really miss Chase crying cat face. So one day me and my boyfriend were hanging out in his room and this was the time when his parents didn't know we were going out so, when it was time for me to go we had to keep an eye out for people. I get ready and leave his room, only to find his grandpa sitting downstairs right near the door. My boyfriend panics and asks me to wait until his grandpa leaves but I had to get home soon, so I couldn't do that and then he comes up with a plan for me to climb on his roof and jump to the backyard. IDK what I was thinking but I climbed to the roof to analyze the distance down and I guess it wasn't that bad if I aimed correctly and then as we were looking down while standing on the damn roof, his parents pull into the driveway. We run to the other side of the roof, and both start panicking. IDK why we didn't just act like normal people and make a stupid ass excuse and deal with the embarrassing confrontation. Anyway, we panic. I sit on the edge of the roof and try prepare myself to jump. I swear my boyfriend was talking me through, but I could not hear a word he said because everything went silent and then without thinking, I jumped off the roof. I landed on the floor, but it was muddy and so I fell back and guess what happened? My knee hit my fucking nose and I started bleeding. I was disoriented a bit, but I looked up and saw my boyfriend's very scared expression and then him disappearing. I get myself up, holding my nose and leave his backyard. At this point I was a walking human without any emotions or thoughts. A second later, his dog runs up to me and I look up to see his mom sitting in the car staring at me with a concerned look and at this point it's not like I could run away, so I walked towards her. I felt like I was gonna faint, and then my boyfriend comes running out and starts talking to everyone at once. His mom is so concerned about me, and they both rush me. Once when I was 15, my older brother invited his girlfriend over and they went straight to his bedroom. The thing about my brother is that he has never had a girlfriend before because he never put himself out there, so I didn't expect them to do anything sexual in his room. He was a very shy guy. Anyways, 15 minutes later, I hear thumping on the wall and I was like what the fuck? His girlfriend was moaning and I was scared my parents were going to hear it. Since it was his first time, I didn't want to ruin his moment, so I took my laptop out and connected it to the speaker in my room. I went on Pornhub and played it out loud so if my parents were to hear a sound, they'd think it's me. I played the video for 25 seconds before my mom walked into the room to see me watching porn. I paused the video after she left and didn't hear any more sounds coming from my brother's bedroom. That dumbass only lasted for like 30 seconds. Anyways, that day was so fucking awkward. My brother was so happy that he has lost his virginity, but my mom didn't look at me the same after that incident.
So when I was younger, me and my cousin would play around and pretend we had powers, so I set spaghetti on fire and tried throwing it at her. The place we were playing in was her grandma's little cottage in a forest pretty much in the middle of nowhere. Anyways, the spaghetti hit the grass and we stepped on it to put it out, and I didn't think of it as a big deal, so I got paper, set it on fire, then threw it at her, and before the fire had gone out it hit the grass and the fire kept spreading so fast we couldn't put it out. Luckily there was a path that separated the forest from the house, so the house wasn't really affected, but a tree began to burn and fell on my cousin and it left burns in her back. We called the fire department, but they came later than expected, so my cousin was still hurt. This day she's still in kindergarten. I had this boy best friend, let's just call him Ben because that was his name and I don't care if he sees this, Anyway, one day I went over to Ben's house for a play date. Me and Ben were playing with his Thomas the Tank Engine trains. Then I had to pee really bad, but me and Ben were having so much fun playing with the trains. Then I stood over the train track set up to get another train to play with, but before I could reach the train I started peeing uncontrollably all over his Thomas the Tank Engine toys. But I didn't feel bad at all. That crusty musty built like a deflated balloon bitch ass deserved it. After peeing all over his train set he called his mum in and I cleaned myself up in the bathroom. My mum had to pick me up. Me and Ben never talked again though.
So my mom is gay and she has been as long as I've remembered. Her girlfriend had 2 daughters, one was adorable but the other was a literal demon. She was a raggedy fatty patty no sauce on her daddy chicken wing Stranger Things attention whore bitch. I fucking hated her, she was such a whack ass hoe. One day she decided to make a ramen with her fat ass self. She wanted attention because we had been ignoring her because she was wing ignorant all day. So this bitch really put in the ramen without the water. The whole fucking apartment almost went down and we had to get a new microwave. That bitch didn't even get in trouble, but I smacked the fuck out of her because I couldn't have fucking ramen for a month. Did I give a shit? No. Okay, so one time my cousins and I decided to go on a walk in my aunt's neighborhood. 3 of them are siblings. A 14-year-old girl, 12-year-old boy, and a 6-year-old girl. After 20 minutes of walking my cousin and I realized the siblings were gone. There was a forest next to where we were walking, so we decided to go in and look for them. After a couple minutes we found them peeing in a triangle. They were literally pissing in a 90-degree triangle formation. Some Illuminati type stuff. It looked like a fountain with pee splashing all over them. The urine was literally the color of that dude Sebastian Bales. They noticed we found them and they quickly stopped, but the boy wasn't done, so pee continued to fill his khaki shorts. The stain was huge and just kept getting bigger as he continued to pee his pants. The weirdest part is that when we were walking back they acted like nothing even happened. From Anonymous.
So when I was younger me and my cousin would play around and pretend we had powers, so I set spaghetti on fire and tried throwing it at her. The place we were playing in was her grandma's little cottage. In a forest pretty much in the middle of nowhere. Anyways, the spaghetti hit the grass and we stepped on it to put it out, and I didn't think of it as a big deal, so I got paper, set it on fire, then threw it at her, and before the fire had gone out it hit the grass and the fire kept spreading so fast we couldn't put it out. Luckily there was a path that separated the forest from the house, so the house wasn't really affected, but a tree began to burn and fell on my cousin and it left burns in her back. We called the fire department, but they came later than expected, so my cousin was still hurt. This day she's still